Dear participants, welcome to the second panel of the Livable Cities Symposium. The title of our panel is Nature-Based Solutions in Action. This panel also marks the regional launch ceremony for the NBS Chorus project, which is the short name of the Nature-Based Solutions to Increase Community Resilience Against Climate-Induced Disasters. This project is granted by the Interreg Next Black Sea Basin Program and co-funded by the European Union. The project aims to promote climate change adaptation, disaster risk prevention, and resilience with ecosystem-based approaches. This will be achieved through sharing experiences and testing successful climate adaptation solutions, addressing challenges like urban heat islands. I'm Barret Binatlı, Built Environment Manager at WRI Türkiye, and I have the pleasure of moderating today's session. We're joined by 4 distinguished panelists, each representing a key partner in the NBS Chorus project. We'll begin by discussing nature-based solutions broadly, exploring their effects with relevant examples. As we dive deeper into the discussion, we will connect NBS to the urban heat island phenomenon and discuss the NBS Chorus project as well. As this is an online webinar, we encourage you to submit your questions through the Q&A window. Please specify which speaker your question is directed to, and we will address them during the Q&A session at the end of the panel. Now, I'd like to make a quick announcement for our panelists. Before you begin your presentation, please switch to the off channel. This way, the interpreter will be able to hear you and conduct the translation. Once you finish your presentation, you can leave the off channel and return to the language you prefer. Without further delay, let's begin with our first speaker, Can Pool, Senior Manager at Urban Shift, WRI Ross Center for Sustainable Cities. Dear Can, we're excited to hear your insights on nature-based solutions and how they can mitigate urban heat. The floor is yours. Please switch to the off channel and share your screen when you're ready.
Wonderful. Thanks very much, Barret. Thanks very much for having me. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to speak to you today about nature-based solutions and the potential to utilize them to mitigate urban heat in cities. Before I do so, however, I'm going to give you a really brief overview of the organization that I represent, World Resources Institute. We're a global research organization that works at the nexus of environment, economic opportunity, and human well-being. And we work on 3 major global transitions, one of which is the food, land, and water transition, the climate and energy transition, and this one, the cities transition. In our cities program, we are dedicated to shaping a world where cities work better for everyone. And we do this with more than 400 staff from around the world in all of these offices that you see on the slide here, and working with more than 175 cities. So with that, let me dive straight into my presentation. I want to start with a primer about nature-based solutions. I think some will know, but I think for some this will be new. So it's important to define what we mean by nature-based solutions. The definition that you see here on the screen is the formal one from the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, which states that NBS are actions that protect, sustainably manage, and/or restore natural or modified ecosystems to address societal challenges while providing benefits for both people and for nature. However, for the purposes of my presentation, colleagues, I want us to think about nature-based solutions through an infrastructure lens, where we can think about NBS as either hybrid or natural infrastructure that complement the traditional built infrastructure in our cities. These are hard, gray, engineered structures that we have built in cities to address development objectives. And now adding a nature-based solutions lens to it, we will think about these infrastructures as either hybrid infrastructure or completely natural systems. I also want to flag that nature-based solutions have got many other names when it comes to implementing them in practice. So while the concept of nature-based solutions might be new to you, the type of work that we mean under nature-based solutions might not be necessarily new. So you might have heard of NBS referred to as engineering with nature, or green or natural infrastructure, or ecosystem-based approaches, nature-based flood protection or management, things like this all mean what I mean when I say nature-based solutions. So now I want to put nature-based solutions into the context of the global heating crisis that we're experiencing. And this has been covered quite extensively in the previous session already, so I will be brief here. We know that 2023 was the hottest year on record. And we know that 2024 is poised to overtake it. But we know that nature-based solutions can help mitigate extreme urban heat. And they can do this through a number of different ways. The first is shading. I think this will be the most intuitive for most people, and most people will probably recognize this benefit. When we think about, for example, increasing tree cover in cities to provide more shade, to provide cooling benefits. However, that's not the only way that nature-based solutions can provide cooling. They also do so through this process called evapotranspiration, which is the process through which plants in cities absorb water through the ground and evaporate it through their leaves, and thereby create a quasi-cooling effect, something like an air conditioning effect. We've detailed a lot more about this in this recent report, Better Forests, Better Cities, that I had the pleasure of contributing to a couple of years ago, which delves into the science behind how nature-based solutions in cities can help to mitigate heat. We also know that there are a number of different NBS intervention types that we can use in cities. And so I briefly want to describe some of them. The first one are green roofs. We know that in cities, there are opportunities to either retrofit existing buildings where possible, where structurally possible and where financially feasible, existing buildings with green roofs. The benefit of this is that greenery on top of a roof increases the albedo effect. That means the reflectivity, so that when sunlight reaches the roof, more of it is reflected off, less of it is absorbed, and therefore less heat is absorbed. And so we know that green roofs have got a lot of potential in cities, especially, I want to point out, colleagues, as we continue to build and develop the cities and all of the infrastructure that we need to accommodate growing urban populations. So it's both about retrofitting green roofs, but also ensuring that future buildings, future infrastructure have got green roofs incorporated into the planning and design. I've already spoken about the shading potential, introducing trees into parks and especially along roadways, greenways, things like this can provide shading, which helps to cool cities. But I also want to introduce another concept here, which is the potential of a combined green and blue infrastructure approach in cities, which you can see in the picture in the top right here. We know that blue infrastructure, such as water bodies, dams, ponds, rain gardens, streams, rivers, can also provide a cooling effect through the evaporation of water, and when combined with green infrastructure, can actually be enhanced. I'll talk more about that in a second here. I want to give a couple of examples to bring this to life. The first one, our colleague Bruno from WRI Brazil already spoke about this a little bit, but I'll go over it again briefly for the sake of colleagues who may not have been on the first presentation. This is from the city of Medellin in Colombia, and it's about their Green Corridors program. They launched this Green Corridors project in 2016, specifically to combat the urban heat island effect. And it involved planting 120,000 plants, not only trees, and also 12,000 trees along priority areas and transport corridors in the city. You can see them here on the slide. By 2021, the program had expanded significantly with 2.5 million smaller plants and nearly 900,000 more trees planted throughout the city, and in strategic areas to connect green spaces, to connect roads, parks, streams, vertical gardens, and therefore have an enhanced opportunity to promote biodiversity and to create an overall more sustainable urban environment. And this project has been really successful. Studies show that it has reduced average city temperatures, ambient temperatures, by 2 degrees Celsius. And this cooling effect predominantly through shading and evapotranspiration, as I mentioned earlier. In some local areas, there are reports that local ambient temperatures have been reduced by up to 4 degrees Celsius. And this project has also gained a lot of international recognition as a model for nature-based solutions to mitigate heat. It won a global prize called the Ashton Award in 2022 for cooling, and it has served as a case study for other cities that are seeking to replicate cost-effective nature-based solutions. For example, in Bogota, in Barranquilla, both cities in Colombia, and also in Sao Paulo. And so hopefully it can also inspire you. The next example that I want to give is from Guangzhou in China. Rapid industrialization and urbanization in Guangzhou have led to higher temperatures in the city compared to the surrounding rural areas. And this is exacerbated by a lot of concrete and asphalt, which is not unique to Guangzhou. It's in all of our cities. We know that this traps and radiates heat and thereby worsens the urban heat island effect. So the city started to explore nature-based solutions with a focus on incorporating natural elements into urban design, and started with one city as a pilot. The NBS interventions that they explored included integrating green areas, restoring water bodies, developing green roofs and walls, integrating permeable surfaces, all to reflect heat and provide cooling benefits. But in particular, I want to highlight the city's effort to use a combination of the green and blue infrastructure approach that I mentioned earlier. So through their Cool City Action Plan that you see here on the screen, they identified a number of different blue infrastructure assets, such as the Haizhu wetland in the north of the city, and also the need to develop and restore different water bodies and rivers in the city to leverage their potential to cool the surrounding areas through evaporative cooling. So the image that you see on the right here, the map, is from Guangzhou's Cool City Action Plan, and it shows the natural ventilation corridors in Guangzhou, both for the summer, which are the blue arrows, and for the winter prevailing winds, which are the purple arrows coming across. And these corridors are designed to channel cool air through the city, which helps to mitigate urban heat. In the summer, the air flows predominantly from the south, as I mentioned, while in winter, it shifts slightly, but the focus remains on bringing cool air that comes from or has passed over water bodies into the urban areas from surrounding green spaces and wetlands. And so this is a really innovative way about thinking about the cooling potential of a combined blue and green infrastructure approach in cities, and how important it is to not only manage nature-based solutions in the city, but also in and around cities, including in their watersheds. So I hope this example and the Medellin one that I provided earlier provide some inspiration for what is possible in your cities. I'll quickly cover a number of different additional co-benefits that NBS provide. They can help sustain jobs and livelihoods. They can help control stormwater. They support biodiversity. They can improve water quality. They help us to tackle climate change through carbon sequestration, and they can improve food security. So nature-based solutions don't only provide heat benefits in cities, but a multitude of other co-benefits, making them more attractive to cities. However, it's important for me to share some words of caution, primarily that nature-based solutions are very highly context-specific. This means that they require careful evaluation, planning, and design, because nature has natural variability that must be accounted for in different settings. And there are lots of other challenges surrounding nature-based solutions that still need to be overcome. We don't have time to go into them today, but you see some of them on the screen here, such as buy-in and awareness from governments and community, developing robust business cases to incentivize investors, and developing innovative financial models to scale access to finance. But colleagues, there is definitely a nature-based solutions movement. There's a lot of resources, tools, frameworks that you can use. And so I want to highlight in that spirit a capacity building course on nature-based solutions and one on urban biodiversity from an initiative called Urban Shift that I work on. These are capacity building training modules that are online, free for anybody, designed specifically for city practitioners to build your capacity on how to implement and leverage nature-based solutions in your city. You can access the courses through the QR code on the screen here. And colleagues, my slides are not moving. Oh, they did move. I apologize. I wanted to highlight this last slide about how to get started. You have to understand your local site context. So you have to understand the local context within which you are working, sorry. This includes biophysical traits, social policy, financial enabling conditions, the benefits that you have in mind, and the variability in the performance of nature-based solutions. But once you've done that, you can leverage the regenerative and adaptive nature of nature-based solutions for resilience. You can understand the spatial and the temporal scales to maximize the benefits. You can integrate nature-based solutions into current and future urban planning and design. And you can also inform future management and monitoring and evaluation of nature-based solutions. Thanks very much for your attention. Farid, back to you.
Thank you, Jean-Rob. Thank you for that insightful presentation and that recipe that you presented at the very end. So now I'd like to invite our second speaker, Sergo Turmanidze. Sergo is the project coordinator and marketing expert from the Georgian Institute of Public Affairs. He will provide us with a deeper understanding of the MBS Course project goals and its expected outcomes. Sergo, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, dear participants, dear organizers. It's our honor to participate first time actually in the 12th Livable Cities Symposium. I'm Sergo Turmanidze, as Barrett mentioned, representing Georgian Institute of Public Affairs. As the project coordinator, I am excited to introduce our multinational initiative supported by Interreg Next Flexi Basin program and co-funded by European Union, which aims to use natural-based solutions to strengthen community resilience against climate-induced disasters. So GIPA, as an education institution, has long been committed to foster development, good government, and sustainability in Georgia. We are always actually innovative organization searching for innovating approaches and strong partnership inside and outside our country. Since actually 1994, we have established a strong presence in the education field as institution, offering programs at all levels, from vocational to PhD programs, alongside conducting various research, capacity building, advocacy initiatives throughout Georgia. Actually, we are actively engaged in numerous international projects with our European and American partners, benefiting from their support and collaboration, which covers actually not only educational development programs, for instance, such as Erasmus Plus and other kind of US supported programs, but we also deeply engaged in different developing environmental and other research activities with our international partners. Actually, through this project, we continue that mission by collaborating with international partners to tackle the urgent challenges of climate resilience, as you know, and this cross-border effort, supported by European Union, underscores the importance of regional cooperation, in fact, and it is addressing shared global environmental challenges. So this is also kind of responsibility to global commitment and putting small brick in the wall from our side and practicing this experience in Georgia with international partners. I would like to thank our partners, especially Ecolution Georgia, who is also our partner, WRI Türkiye, Forest Research Institute, Hellenic Agriculture Organization, Dimitra, who will be presenting details of the project activities. I will try to summarize and make overall revision and of telling what is the main objective of our partnership. But once again, thanks to our partners to this initiative, because this project was actually shaped together. It was not kind of GIPA's single initiative, separate initiative, and we worked quite deep to consider in the early stages of the project proposal development that find common points of contact and common problems, and which problems are kind of general to both, and what can be the better approaches to continue work in the project implementation process. So the main objective of our cooperation is to reduce community vulnerability to climate-induced disasters using natural-based solutions, NBS, and the project will expand from started in July to 2024 and will be completed by January 2026. So we have actually 1.5 years of the project implementation period, and we hope we will achieve all targets and objectives I will go through in the next couple of slides. So the priority, as you know, we are addressing actually the priority which is given by the donor and which is also kind of derived from the global and European challenges, and we have to contribute to the overall priority directions such as climate, clean and green regions. And also the general objective of the program on the program level is promoting climate change adaptation and disaster risk prevention, resilience, taking into account, of course, ecosystem-based approaches. And what will be actually the donor expected and program expected results is, and which is also promoted with this project, is cooperating across borders, not only during the project implementation, but after the project completion, because this type of partnership and also this type of symposiums gives us opportunity to establish and enhance our linkages to address our goals and be more proactive on national and international level based on the international and common experience sharing practices. And another thing is solutions taken up or upscaled by these organizations means that we will upscale and we will learn much more based on our experience, and we will produce better results on the local community levels and policy levels. So it will be actually it will be good kind of advantage to all our partners to deliver our results to upper level. Project goals, what we actually intend, as you know, this project is cross-border cooperation project among Black Sea basin countries, and as you know, we are four organizations from 3 countries, Georgia, Turkey, and Greece. So we will promote transnational cooperation, and the project supports this actively. Another thing is we will try to enhance community resilience against climate-induced disasters, and also we will contribute to restore and conserve ecosystem to mitigate disaster risks. So this is for Georgia, this is kind of novice practice, and the goals which we actually set to ourselves, this is kind of first steps to big ocean, and we will be thankful to all our partners who will contribute with knowledge and experience to enhance our project approaches and activities and be more productive and result oriented. So our anticipation is that we will manage to share our knowledge and use the project as an advantage to deliver correct messages and encourage all stakeholders and beneficiaries to be more active and more interested towards these points. So briefly telling the activities which the project intends and which we are going to implement during 1.5 years of the time period. I will briefly outline these activities, but then our partners will go deeper and explain the activities. And if you have more questions in particular, approaches and how we do some kind of actions, you can ask in the Q&A session. So first, what we are going to do, and we already started, is a desktop study and the literature review of the global and European experience on natural-based solutions. And in this case, our partner organization and our researchers and scientists will work. So we will accumulate as much as needed information for the second and other stages of project implementation, and during the activities this information will be really helpful to be more specific and problem oriented based on actually data related information. Yes. So another thing what we will do in Georgia, in Turkey, will be participatory needs assessment. We will engage communities, local communities, to provide for as much as possible information from different stakeholders and target groups, from public, private sector, as well as community level, kind of memories and other scientific data. So we will create kind of needs assessment, what should be done in particular municipality. And also in parallel or before that, we also do the stakeholder mapping to address all stakeholders' interests and views and experience, to understand local needs and context related to NBS implementation. Another step of the activities will be developing NBS action plan, which will be actually designed targeting on the particular municipalities in Georgia and in Turkey. So we will have actually piloting in 6 municipalities in Georgia, in one region. It's next Turkey bordering region of Ajara, capital city Batumi. So we have selected all 6 municipalities in this region, and we will target these areas. So in Turkey, next presenter will explain which city in municipality of Marmara will be targeted. So we will develop actually MBS action plan, which will be created for one municipality, because we will target only one municipality and provide this kind of comprehensive tool of the action plan. However, there will be also capacity building training course on MBS development for municipalities, NGOs, and other interested parties who can actually upscale this action plan in the future. And if any municipality wants to develop local development, local natural-based solution approach and strategy action plan, they can use this training course to know more. And plus, apart from the training course, we will create guide for municipalities on NBS development and implementation, which will be also contributing to increase their knowledge and capacities, how to actually individually in the municipality, in the community level, work on the NBS issues and how to implement actually the action plan. So we will have in parallel stakeholder meetings and workshops based on the activities and needs to engage and involve all parties and be more problem and need specific, because it is not only us who can push these kind of initiatives on the policy and implementation level, of course, and the active involvement of all partners, all parties and stakeholders is very crucial part. In parallel of all these, we will have extensive awareness raising activities, which may include online information sharing, targeted email communication, phone calls, the same workshops or kind of outreach, face-to-face meetings with particular organizations from higher to bottom, from bottom to top level of the government ladder. Another thing, what we are going to target, who are our target groups, are the local public authorities. And in Ajara, we selected, in Georgia, in Ajara, we selected the region of Ajara because we have actually all representation of regional government, local government, and it is more flexible to make decisions much quicker. So local public authority will be involved, regional public authority, national public authority, such as ministries and agencies who are working on the national level. Also, we are interested in targeting such interest groups such as NGOs and civil society organizations. They are actually very active in advocacy, awareness raising campaigns, lobbying such kind of issues, and kind of raising issues and informing local communities with particular problems. And also they have many kind of research and kind of background or preliminary works already completed, which should not be ignored and could be utilized very effectively throughout engagement of these target groups. Another thing is sectoral agencies, which we have, and higher education and research institutions, which gives opportunity to us to use the knowledge, scientific knowledge, which is already collected and retained in the universities. And also our big interest is to involve our students in the in research activities as well as in the field works, and give them opportunity to know their regional issues much better on the scientific level. Another thing is what we expect from this project in cooperation and implementation of NBS course is promoting the climate change and adaptation and disaster risk prevention through ecosystem-based approaches, because in Georgia it is again new to us, and we have to learn a lot and try to provide improve first of all awareness raising, and then understanding among all actors who are really responsible and have mandate to be the key actor in this process. Another thing is introduction of this project in 6 municipalities, in 7 municipalities in Turkey. Another thing is cross-border cooperation. Our aim and objective is to cooperate and expand our partnerships and linkages. And then another is development of natural-based risk management strategies in particular municipalities, which will be upscaled on the policy level. So it will be in process of implementation, and we make the follow-up with the government authorities and local authorities further after the completion, and developing the action plan and MBS strategy with local actors. Another thing is capacity building. As we said, we are going to use this program in educational program, then in the training courses, which will be with us, with our partners, and we can provide NBS training courses further after the project completion as well. Integration of NBS into planning process and fostering cross-sector coordination is very important, because thing is that we had an opening meeting with our target groups already, and we found that separately there are fragments of different activities towards this action, but there is missing of integration and coordination and joint efforts in Georgia. So this is another point. So the final point from the global perspective, what we are expecting and what is actually Interreg Next Black Sea Basin is expecting is enhancing community resilience against climate-induced disasters globally and on the European and especially on the Black Sea Basin neighborhood countries, sustainable developments through climate adaptation and including poverty reduction, improved social well-being, restoration of protection of ecosystem, contributing to biodiversity and ecosystem service preservation. And 2 more points are increasing disaster risk resilience, as we already mentioned, targeting our municipalities, especially through our efforts and joint cooperation and transnational cooperation between Georgia, Turkey, and Greece. So we will foster and share common knowledge and common experience, and hopefully we will share best experience after we complete or along our project implementation. This was very briefly what I could explain, and the details of the project activities will be explained by our partners. Thank you very much for your participation and attention.
Thank you, Sergo. Thank you for the valuable insights and sharing the details about the project. Next, I will quickly share WRI's role in this project. It will be very short. Hopefully you can see this, the screen that I'm sharing.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so WRI is one of the partners of the project, and I'll be explaining the role of WRI Türkiye in the project. All right. So Sergo already gave the necessary information. Who are the partners? What is the objective? The project runs between, already started. It runs between July 2024 and until January 2026. The target countries are Georgia and Turkey. And the target cities in Turkey are from the Marmara region, and they are Istanbul, Tekirdağ, Edirne, Kırklareli, Kocaeli, Sakarya, and Yalova. These are the cities that are within the Black Sea Basin, as also they were shown in the map that Sergo shared with you. The project goals were shared as well with you. Now, just quickly touch on WRI Turkey's role in the project. We will support the desktop study on the global and European nature-based solutions, case studies, models, policies, just the ones that are relevant to target municipality characteristics as well. Needs assessment and stakeholder mapping, especially focusing on the 7 cities that I just mentioned in Turkey. Contribute to the development of the MBS action plan that Sergo was explaining a moment ago. Contribute to the capacity building training courses for municipalities, NGOs in MBS. Guidelines for municipalities on developing and implementing MBS strategies, conduct awareness raising activities in Turkey, and also conduct stakeholder workshops to stimulate change of MBS at the policy level. This was it. It was very short. It summarizes WRI Turkey's role in the project. And next, our speaker is going to be Levan Inashvili. Levan is environmental project manager at Ecolution Georgia. He will share his experiences and discuss Ecolution's role in the project, along with examples in Georgia. Levan, please ensure you're in the off channel, and I'll help you sharing the screen, and so you can go ahead. You can start. I'll share the screen meanwhile.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to take a part in this nice event, and we are really honored to be part of it, as well as being part of this project, which has been discussed and presented and introduced by our Turkish and Georgian partners. Thank you. So with this presentation, I will try to provide some brief information about Georgia's profile in this term, in terms of climate change induced disasters, and also provide some information about our organization and our background. So I would start with a country profile. I think you might be all aware about Georgia, which is a relatively small country neighboring with Turkey, covering just 70,000 square meters, and with a population up to 4 million. So Georgia is at risk of hydrometeorological hazards and natural disasters, and definitely Georgia will not be exception from the globe. And frequent natural disasters include landslides, like floods, flash floodings, mud flows, droughts, and avalanches, heavy winds and storms. So it's quite typical. But these risks are in part due to country's complex mountainous relief. But it is expected that these risks will be exacerbated and heightened through expected climate change. Yeah. So as I mentioned, Georgia cannot be an exception. So that's why our country is facing pretty typical risks due to climate change. And as we're all aware, so these risks are ultimately related with economic costs and damages and loss, and also loss of lives, and it affects population in a critical negative way. And also for Georgia, there we have some quite specific disasters, and namely, I would say about rainfalls, because climate change scenario, which was conducted pretty recently, results of this analysis indicate that there could be substantial changes in extreme rainfall by 2050, which means a current 100-year event for extreme rainfall could become a 50-year event by 2050. So here I tried to provide some insights about damages since 1987 in Georgia. So total economic damage reached 2.8 billion Georgian lari, which in USD is more than 1.2 billion US dollars, which is pretty significant amount for this developing economy like Georgia. And also it resulted in total losses of life of 20 people. And Georgia's intended nationally determined contribution estimate that economic losses from climate-induced hazards may will reach by 2030 12 billion US dollars, while cost of adaptation, roughly calculated, it reaches just 2 billion of it. So that's figures and facts for consideration. So in this slide, we try to demonstrate this the two most devastating hazards which happened pretty recently. It is 2015 Tbilisi flood resulted in losses of 20 lives and cost damage which exceeded 20 million. And also just last year, Showe landslide, which happened in the mountainous region in western Georgia, and it resulted in the loss of 30 lives, and total amount of financial damage, it's still being calculated. So here we have just solutions how to mitigate this expected hazards and natural disasters in Georgia. So we aim to tackle all of this, to step in all these solutions, excluding early warning systems, of course, because our project is relatively of smaller scale. So we try to support and promote these investments in infrastructure, and demonstrate through the results of our research and documents. We aim to introduce and promote the positive ways of implementation of sustainable land use practices, and also what's of critical importance is raise of public awareness and preparedness for expected hazards and natural disasters. Next, please, Bert. So here I have project overview, which was discussed by previous panelists. So I will just focus on the target municipalities in Georgia. It is in the western part of Georgia, next to the Black Sea and a direct neighbor of Turkey. There we aim to cover all six municipalities, which is Hurlo, Keda, Shuakevi, Khalvachori, Kobuleti, and of course Batumi. We just a couple of days before we had this kickoff meeting there, and we already collected some insights, and the representatives of the central and local government, they have shared their preparedness for cooperation and their ideas. So we are really hopeful with the results of the project. Next, please. So generally, NBS is sort of a novelty in Georgia. We will just we just presented this and explained even during this recent meeting with Algerian beneficiaries about NBS meanings and roles, about NBS's contribution and importance in the disaster risk management and its environmental benefits, water security contribution, its contribution to water security, community well-being, and ultimately what's very important, economy benefits for local communities. So here we just provided just general pros and cons of NBSCs. Definitely it has lots of benefits, this nature-based solutions, but it also has cons, which is these cons are really challenging, especially for the developing economies like Georgia, like because implementation of NBSCs pretty often it's related to initial investments, and it's not easy to find funds for it, and some implementation challenges, which is namely related to this regulations, local regulations, and the legal framework. There's also maintenance requirements, which is also critical for our country, and limited immediate impact like this. So on this slide, I have provided two different maps of Ajara region. On the first one, the first map illustrates the distribution of high mountains and peaks in Ajara region. And if we go closer, we will observe the incline of slopes. This is information about where avalanches can occur as a result of heavy snowfall or rainfall. The other map on the right, it's there is indicated avalanche dangerous settlements in Ajara region, and this red dot they provide information about the potential places of avalanches, and here is necessary to say that such a disaster can occur every year during the period of heavy snowfall there. And unfortunately, there we have a number of examples, not only in Ajara, but also other mountainous regions like Shobi, as I mentioned before. So here I have provided just some figures about the last year's cases in Ajara region. As you see, this even strong winds resulted in one death and three injuries, and landslide and avalanches, it took 2 lives, and so on. Avalanche in Trinvala village, it resulted in 1 casualty. And what's most important is that more than 300,000 people need immediate support, and it's a pretty critical number, and over 100,000 individuals ultimately impacted by natural disasters. So here we have some providing information about some specific our specific experience, I mean, Ecolution Georgia. So we have implemented projects related to analysis of harmful subsidies, mainly harmful agricultural subsidies impacted in biodiversity loss. And also we have conducted analysis of non-timber forest products at the community level. And during this processes, the organization, we have gained extensive experience in community engagement, and we have built successful relationship, conducted a number of needs assessments. Also, we have experience in developing environmental and social management plans for large-scale projects like E60 modernization and construction project and construction project of hydropower plants in Western Georgia. And the third one is reforestation. So we have prepared a number of reforestation plans and also their implementation. So activities to be implemented by Ecolution Georgia is pretty similar to our Turkish colleagues. So the principal difference is that in the case of Georgia, we deal with 6 target municipalities, while the WRI will deal with 7 municipalities. I think that's all from our side. So thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Levan, for your presentation. Appreciate all the details you provided to us about your activities, also your capabilities as a partner. As WRI Türkiye, we're honored to work with GIPA, Ecolution Georgia, and also Forest Research Institute from Greece. And now, last but not least, we have Dr. Stefanos Stefanidis. He is associate researcher at the Forest Research Institute in Greece. Dr. Stefanos will elaborate on the Institute's role in the project and share examples of nature-based solutions implemented in Greece and beyond. Stefanos, the floor is yours. Please switch to the off channel or make sure you're in the off channel and share your screen.
Thank you, Barrett. Okay. Hello. I'm very happy to participate to this event. In my turn, I will present the role of the Forest Research Institute to the MBS core project, as well as some example from successful implementation of MBS solutions from the Greek territory. To begin, let's our institute. FRI is one research institute located in Thessaloniki, part of the Hellenic Agricultural Organization, ELGO. FRI is one out of 4 partners of the MBS core project. Next. And as a key partner, it contributes to the following activities: identify global and natural-based solution case studies, model and policies relevant to the target municipality characteristics, organize online seminar to share best practices from Greece with project partners, guide the development of NBS action plans for each municipality-specific needs, provide sources from Europe and global best practices for capacity building training courses, guidelines for municipalities on developing and implementing NBS strategies, and also participated in raising activities to engage and inform communities about NBS. Next. Now let me share some few examples that showcases how successful NBS implementation projects from Greece. Let's start with a peri-urban forest in the Thessaloniki metropolitan area. This forest, established after plantation with pine woodlands in surrounding degraded shrubland area of the city, and they offer a wide range of ecosystem services like flood protection, climate regulation, air purification, and also recreation opportunities for the citizens of the city. Next. Now let's go to emergency post-fire erosion mitigation strategies. Following a wildfire in Cassandra Peninsula in Chalkidiki, Emergency post-fire mitigation measures were constructed, including log erosion barriers and in the hill slope and small wooden check dams at the watercourse. This works was constructed from local available material like dead or burned tree trunks and provide protection against accelerated erosion. They sustain the valuable forest soil and assist the natural regeneration of the ecosystem. Next, please. Now let's move to a flood protection project in the area of Ceres in northern Greece. Frequent flash flood phenomena occur with devastating impacts in the city center. To that end, the three mountainous watersheds from the torrents that pass through the city were subjected to the implementation of the French torrent control system. This system combines both technical and biological work. On the map, you can see the location of these works. Technical works marked as points, while areas where biological treatments implemented can be seen from the highlighted green polygons. These works include dry stone or masonry check dams that aligns ideal with the natural environment, as well as some bioengineering works like fascines and wettels. Also, reforestation of slope using techniques like brush layering or live fascines. Another example is the outputs of the SOLNA, an indirect project that led by FRI. Grazing was used as a tool to manage vegetation and reduce wildfire risk. Herein, scenarios with and without vegetation was evaluated from FRI in order to see the reduction in wildfire hazard. Also, this highlights that traditional practices can be incorporated in modern natural disaster management. Also, some experiments were performed to identify native species that can be immediately regenerated after fire, and they are also deep-rooted so they can offer protection against erosion. Last but not least, another project that led from Elgo Dimitra and funded from LIFE with acronym LIFE GRIN. And this project shows how urban green spaces can mitigate the urban heat island. In an urban green spaces, a meteorological station was installed in the center of the area. Moreover, in a warm summer day, some measurements were taken in areas with different materials and land cover, including surface temperature and reflectance radiation. The results showed that the differences are important, and we can see that in shrublands, the temperature is cooler, about 5.5 degrees. In grasslands, this measurement was about 3.8. On the other hand, in paved areas like concrete and asphalt, the temperature was about 12 degrees higher. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any question.
Thank you, Stefanos. We have few minutes remaining only. I'd like to ask one question to Sergo at this point. How will the MBS project or MBS Chorus project that we are presenting here ensure that the introduced nature-based solutions are sustainable in the long run? Just a quick answer if you don't mind, so I'd like to ask some more questions.
So actually, we are educational institution in Georgia, and we continue in include this into the educational program. However, along with that, we are trying to engage all partners. That's why our interest was not only acting in Georgia, but kind of as a lead organization, gathering international experience and international partnerships. So the core objective of our initiative is that we continue our collaboration in the future and actually promote this initiative on another level. So we were looking forward for other opportunities during and after implementation of the process of the project. And we anticipated there will be good feedback and a good opportunity to continue this initiative again. With a broader
Thank you.
perspective, of course, yes.
Thank you. So because we have 4 minutes remaining, I'd like to ask quick questions. And thank you very much, John, for answering all those questions that were posed to you in the Q&A. We appreciate it. That's very helpful for everyone. So if you don't mind, I'll skip you because you answered so many questions already. I'll go ahead and ask Stefanos. Stefanos, there's actually a question to you in the Q&A. Maybe you can write it, write the answer to it later. But how about this question here? Can the nature-based solutions implemented in Greece? I know we talked about it in general, but those solutions in Greece, can they easily be adapted and transferred to other countries? What kind of factors we need to consider?
Thank you for the question, Barrett. Yes, the natural-based solution we already present has a high degree of transferability. All this method based on some principles that we have to follow in any case study. However, we have to adapt these strategies to the target municipality or target area. And we have to know the special characteristics like the climate of the area, the relief, the soil attributes, etc. So, keeping in mind the basic principle and combination, we can transfer these examples in many areas with similar characteristics.
Thank you very much. A quick question to Levan. Is there any current MBS practice in your country that you would like to talk about briefly, and how is it implemented?
Thanks for your questions. So generally, these nature-based solutions are relatively new to Georgia, but they're rapidly gaining interest and support due to their numerous benefits, and often activities originally labeled as preventive measures align closely with the principles of NBSs, which mean that in practice, some NBS-related activities are being implemented, but they are not named accordingly, and they are not even the data and information about them are not considered and analyzed accordingly. One significant ongoing project related to NBS in Georgia is low carbon solutions through nature-based urban development for one of the biggest cities in Georgia, Kutaisi. And this innovative initiative is centered around implementing some strategies aimed at preventing and mitigating adverse impacts of climate change while promoting sustainable urban development.
Thank you very much. And that was it for our panel. I'd like to thank all our panelists for their insightful presentations and answering the questions. John Rob, thank you very much. Sergo, same to you. Levan and Stefanos, thank you for being with us. We will now have a 10-minute break, and after that, we will continue with the next panel titled E-Mobility, a Sustainable Approach to Reducing Urban Heat and Emissions. Thank you very much.